the last time we did present was, I think it was June. Vizsla was trading around 43 cents a share. We had just completed a $4.6 million bought deal. And just a matter of weeks later, we had a fantastic discovery, and that was followed up with another even higher grade discovery. So the company today is a lot different from the one that we talked about in June. And I think that, I think the next time that we talk, the company will be even more improved from then. And because I'm making forward-looking statements, I think it's important to read this disclaimer on your time, if you don't mind. So Vizsla's vision is to become a low-cost, high-margin producer of silver and gold on a large scale in Mexico. The way that we're going to accomplish this is through executing on exploration and executing on the option at the PANUCO district, and we're making great progress there. And we endeavor to do this by creating a healthy environment for our team and the communities that we work in, as well as creating value for our community stakeholders as well. So after June and into July, after we executed on discovery with our Napoleon vein, we were lucky enough to do a $30 million bought deal with Eric Sprott and several other major institutions. So we're a very well cashed up company. We have over $33 million in the bank right now, a market capitalization of around 150 million today, trading around $1.75. And we still have a great share structure with 90 million basic shares outstanding. The reason that Eric Eric Coffin and Eric Sprott and the institutions followed us into this last placement here was due to discovery. But in addition to the discovery, it's also due to the opportunity that we have at hand here with the PANUCO district. It's a district that we consolidated. It took a number of years to do. It took about a year of my efforts down in Mexico. But we consolidated it for the first time in its very long history, about a 450-year production history. It had been owned, by fragmented ownership and a number of concession holders over many years. But it's a really interesting project in the sense that it has the characteristics of a brownfield. It has a mill that we have under option, it has permits that we have under option, power, tailings, roads, everything you need to be a producing district, it exists there. But it's never been explored as a whole. It's never been explored systematically. Matter of fact, when we arrived there wasn't even a geology map. So we're the first company to actually even do a cohesive geology map on the district. So it's funny in the sense that it is a brownfields district with grassroots exploration potential, and that's what we're seeing at the Napoleon vein and the Tajitos and the San Carlos and many of these recent discoveries that we've made. And we're located about 80 kilometers away from San Dimas in an excellent trend of silver and gold projects. So a good way to when I speak about Vizsla and PANUCO, I like to touch on three things: the size, the grade, and the pathway to production. And this scale comparison is really a great way to demonstrate how we look compared to other major districts in Mexico, silver and gold districts in Mexico. As you can see, Vizsla on the top left, market cap of today about 150 million. Next to it, and in these other tiles here, you see San Dimas, Zacatecas, Fresnillo, Guanajuato, and Las Chispas. And you see that Vizsla compares very favorably on a 5-kilometer scale bar. On a side-by-side comparison, we have over 75 kilometers of total vein strike. Many of you may be familiar with Vancouver or Toronto. 75 kilometers of vein strike, if you were to take the veins and stack them end to end on top of each other, would be like driving from Vancouver to Chilliwack on Highway 1, or in Toronto, like driving north from the downtown core to Lake Simcoe. It's a huge amount of veins. And all these other companies here, save for Vizsla, have something in common, and that's that they enjoy very healthy market caps in excess of $1 billion on the back of these districts. Another way to look at the size here is Vizsla's PANUCO vein field overlain on a map of Vancouver to scale. So this is kind of interesting. If you've ever flown into Vancouver International Airport in Richmond, you'd know that you'd see this the bottom left-hand corner of the district. That's close to where the Napoleon discovery is. But on the far other corner, diagonal corner, is our veins that would be touching the Patella Bridge. So it's a huge, huge district. Now, if you were to have flown to Vancouver International Airport and driven downtown, going up Oak or Granville Street, that would be like driving up one of our main vein corridors. So just to give you an idea of the scale. And San Dimas, an 80 kilometers, a mine that's 80 kilometers away, shares a lot of similar characteristics to Vizsla and PANUCO. It has near identical geology, near identical style of mineralization. Both have had long-lived multiple episodes of vein formation. And both PANUCO and San Dimas share a very long history of mining. The big difference is that San Dimas has been consolidated, it's been explored. It's been in the hands of one company that's been able to exploit it for years prior to First Majestic, and that's shown in the production as well. So the historic production at San Dimas is over 580 million ounces of silver and 11 million ounces of gold, and it still produces a very good rate per annum. So this is the type of potential that we'd like to see with PANUCO. This is what these type of long-lived epithermal vein fields in Mexico can look like, and we see a lot of similarities. Now, when we talk about the PANUCO district, it's basically comprised of two main portions: the Silverstone portion, and that's the hashed lighter part of this map here, and the Brio PANUCO portion, which is the orange portion. Now we have a core option essentially to acquire the Rio PANUCO claim package. That claim package also includes a mill, permits, tailings, everything that we would need to be in production, as well as the Napoleon vein. And the Napoleon vein is significant because that's where we made the hole number 7 discovery, 6 meters of 8 kilos of silver. So it broken down, that's 1.8 kilos of silver and 66 grams gold over 6 meters. So some very, very high grade material is on that Napoleon vein, and that's on the Rio PANUCO concession block. That's also the concession block that we have our mill under option as well too. So for $23 million, we can own that 100% and move into production. We also have a longer dated 7-year option to acquire the rest of the entire district there as well. So when we arrived at the project, we started with classic prospecting with mapping and sampling. And the surface sampling and the underground working sampling really drove us to highlight several different areas for drilling, and that's where we have our 4 rigs turning now. We're still doing more prospecting as we speak here, but you can see the Napoleon section here, hole 4, hole 7. This is what led us to the Napoleon, the surface sampling, also to the Cordon de Oro, as well as the southern portion of the Animas vein. And this is our focus now. So we have 2 rigs turning on Napoleon, 1 rig turning on Cordon de Oro, and the other rig turning on the San Carlos mine area in the southern portion of the Animas vein. So in our mind, we have the potential here to really demonstrate a huge amount of ounces through these drill programs. Now it's interesting. I should make I'll make the disclaimer that the statements to come aren't 43-101. They're estimates based on what we understand of the district, what we've been told. But we believe, due to void spaces and things like that, that there's the potential that over 100 million ounces of silver have been extracted from the Animas trend here, from these 8 ore chutes over 3.5 kilometers on the Animas vein corridor. You can see this is the area with the most amount of workings. It's seen the most amount of drilling as well too, and this gives you an idea of what the potential is there and what you can see in ore chutes over 3.5 kilometers. And there's still, I should also point out, there is still more to be discovered as we've shown from the San Carlos drilling at depth. We believe there's more to these ore chutes under the water table where the workings essentially have stopped due to the complexities of dewatering there for the existing miners, not for modern mining though. And we're starting to see now, we've traced mineralization over the Napoleon vein corridor for over 2 kilometers. We actually made a brand new discovery a kilometer to the north of the original Napoleon hole number 7 of the Papio zone. And the Papio zone is another kilo plus discovery over great widths. And we're drilling on that, and I think that's going to get better. I think I'm going to keep an eye out for news from northern Napoleon, from the Papio zone. I'm excited about that drilling as well. And we've also made the most recent discovery that we announced was 500 meters away from the Napoleon discovery was Tajitos, another area that has never been drilled, but there's signs of some very old workings on it. Now, touching on some of the grades that we see, so I've touched on the size, the scale. Now I think just demonstrating some of the grades that we do see, particularly at Napoleon here. The initial discovery hole that had our stock reacting very well was hole number 2 at Napoleon. That was over 8 meters of 1.8 kilos of silver equivalent. In that we had 2 meters of 3.8 kilos of silver equivalent. So very high grades there in drilling. But then, the hole that we followed up with was it was such an amazing moment to get that call from from Charles. We had to immediately halt the stock when we found out about this news. But it totally changed the direction of Vizsla here. So we had 6 meters, and I'll give you the breakdown numbers here, but 6 meters of 1.8 kilos of silver, and just over 66 grams per ton gold, so over 2 ounces of gold, plus great base metal credits. But in that, we even had a sub-interval of just under a meter, 0.85 of a meter, with 2.2 kilos silver and 199 grams per ton gold. So, fantastic numbers there. And that equated to 21 kilos silver equivalent in the sub-interval. And again, as Ian mentioned, it's not a high-grade system unless you show pictures of the rock. So here we go. There's some core photos here. You notice the sub-interval on the bottom right there with the very dark coloration. So where do we go from here? So towards the end of the year here, from now until December, we expect to drill over 31,000 meters. We have 4 rigs turning. There's the potential that we add more rigs. I think we're focused on two things here right now. It's following up on the discoveries that we've made primarily, and that would be at Napoleon with 2 rigs, Cordon de Oro with 1 rig, and Southern Animas with another. But we're also working up new potential discoveries across the district as well. So what we like to show and move into the new year is the potential to show a resource, but also to show the potential of the district as a whole. And I think, with the funding that we have here, with the 30 million plus in the bank, we're going to be able to really demonstrate the potential of a district like this, that we put our foot on, which is the first time it's been explored as a whole. And the third thing, from scale to grade, now the final point that I always like to touch on is our pathway to production. I spoke about it a bit earlier, but we do have this 500 ton per day mill. We have the tailings facilities. We have power. Everything that a company would need, even the notepads and the pens in the office, we have under option. For $23 million, that becomes ours, and we own that portion of the concession of the district, those concessions, and the mill, and we'll be able to enter into production quite rapidly. And you can see we have a long dated option here. It goes out to 2026. Our first major payment occurs basically 2 years from now, and that would be 2.6 million. So we have a lot of optionality with this. We can explore as we need to, or we can make an outright purchase whenever we like. But we have the opportunity, and this is what sets us apart, I think, from other discovery stories as well. Now, I'm confident that we will be able to execute on that. I'm confident that we will be able to move into a producer as we continue to execute on discovery, and as we continue to execute on moving towards the options. And the reason that I'm confident for that is because of our team. Craig Perry, who's our chairman, he's one of the founding directors of Next Gen Energy, one of the founding shareholders of EMR Capital, chairman of Skeena, my business partner in Inventa. And he and I basically worked together. I have a commerce background. We built a cobalt business and sold that back in 2017 prior to starting Vizsla. So we have great experience there. Simon Smirlik, our other director, is COO of Ausenco, probably the world's best mine builder group. We're very, very lucky to have Simon on the board, and we appreciate his insights all the time on that. And Stuart Smith, a PhD geologist out of Australia, most recently was running the copper business for Teck. And I'd like to note Charles Funk as well. Charles is a huge reason why we were able to be so successful. He leading our geology team in Mexico, and also having the ability to build our team very rapidly. We've only been going essentially for 12 months. And Vizsla being able to raise over $40 million in 12 months and make these discoveries in a large part is due to Charles's ability in the field. So in summary, we put our foot on what seems like one of Mexico's last great silver districts. We're having success with discovery. We have the potential to move into production very rapidly, and we have the funding and the team to execute on this right now. And thank you again, Eric and the team for having me present here. And if anyone has any questions, I'll be around afterwards.